This is Masters Report. I'm John Masters, and you're not. Mainstream media. You gotta love them. Maybe you hate them, but you gotta give them one thing. You gotta give it to them. They can really mobilize a country. As a matter of fact, they can mobilize an entire world without any facts whatsoever, on just the basis of emotion only. And once they get the momentum moving in the direction that they want to, they're also masters at distraction, moving us to a whole different focal point. In other words, bringing, they like to call it news cycles. Well, we're just going into a news cycle. And I want you to notice something right now. Right now, our news cycle is now being distracted into police brutality again. Guys, it happens all the time. It goes on all the time. It's only at select moments that they decide to focus on it. And once they focus on it, of course, the world becomes emotional at the same time. And what? Reactions occur. The entire world starts to watch. Now, let's not forget the secondary greatest point of distraction, Donald Trump. Let's go ahead and fact check one of his tweets. That'll get everybody talking. So now we've got, I want you to notice this, guys. So now we've got the emotional liberals going after the whole police brutality. Okay, the liberals, that's one of their focal points. And part of the reason, I'll be honest with you, why my channel was successful, because I was covering something that Google wanted covered. So it was promoted. I'm not doing so much of that now, so I'm not being promoted as much. And then let's now go ahead and divide out the conservatives by fact-checking one of Trump's tweets. I've got all of this. I'm going to tell you all of this right now is so we don't notice the new CDC release of the CFR called the case fatality rate, which I'm going to give to you. But I want to point something out for you. How is it that the mainstream media is able to do this? And I've got a clip I want you to watch. And I'm going to give you this information that we have out now during the clip because it fits in just so well. But let's roll the ducks. If it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, and it looks like a duck, then by God, it's a duck. All right, before I go into the new CDC numbers that the mainstream media just doesn't seem to want to cover, even Fox, by the way, Fox is the mainstream media. They're the highest watched media on cable TV. Doesn't that make them mainstream media? I want to show this video because a lot of us wonder, how is it in the world that we can't have a debate? Why? I mean, there's a lot of people like you and me that really want to have an open mind and talk about it. But instead of having a discussion, when it does occur, notice, especially the liberals, we need to have a frank and open discussion about the situation. That's not what they mean. What they mean is this.
Tell us about what's happening right now.
Still looking at the coincident and lagging indicator. Let's see. For a while, it was how can stocks be where they are because of oil prices? Remember, that was your take then.
Right.
How can it be based on where interest rates are right now? Then it could be how can stocks be,
right.
And then it was every single discussion you have over the weekend is about how can stock prices be here when the economy is here.
Right.
Now it's going to be your earnings, but can
right.
you see how that probably isn't the coincidence, the stuff
Joe.
right in your face? We're going to have David Lebovitz on. He's going to say every client he talks to is asking him, how can the stock market be here when
right.
everything else is...
And that's the question. And there are a lot of smart people who have that view. You may not have that view.
Why is that the smart people? They've been wrong for 35%. Why are they smart? Just because they can see what's right in front of their nose? That doesn't make them smart. It makes them.
Look, Joe, you missed it on the way down too.
Makes them not savvy about the market.
Joe, you missed it. You missed You missed it 100% on the way down, and you missed the 100,000 deaths.
All right, listen, I want you guys to notice something. Whenever the mainstream media talks about the death rate, what are they talking about? These are people that died of COVID-19. It's never with COVID-19, which is the actual statistics. The actual death from somebody with just COVID-19, as COVID-19 being the cause of death, is minimal. I mean, even less than the CFR that I'm going to give you. But they always say die of COVID-19. Remember, of that 100,000 that they're showing, even according to Birx and according to the mayor of New York. Many of those assumed to have had COVID. No proof that they actually had COVID.
So we can have this debate back and forth, and you can try to question the questions I'm asking, but there are smart people, including your friend Stan Druckenmiller, who's argued that the market has been over. Hold on. I'm not going to do this with you, Joe. Every morning you try to question the questions I'm asking. These are questions that investors are asking every single morning. I am just trying to get through some of this clutter.
All right. Let me see if I got this right. You're questioning my statements, which is what happens when you have an open discussion. But you see, when it comes to a liberal argument, no, these are the talking points. And if you argue with these talking points, it's going to destroy my talking points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to yell at you and I'm going to talk over you. And then I'm going to attack you personally for questioning the talking points.
I may be right. I may be wrong. Investors may be right. They may be wrong. That's what makes a market. But it doesn't make people a good person or a bad person. It doesn't make it right to act the way you are. I'm sorry.
Okay. You yelled at the poor guy about the guy yesterday with masks. Is like, why are you yelling at me now?
I'm not, Joe.
You just yelled again. I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
No, you're not. No, you're not, Joe. I'm sorry.
Okay, liberal argument 101. Once you do your emotional outburst, you told them the way that it is, this is the talking point, now you need to dismiss them. Because anything that they say beyond that is dismissal, and I'm not going to talk about it anymore because you're making sense.
Okay.
Go ahead with the news.
You panicked about the market, panicked about COVID, panicked about the ventilators, panicked about the PPE, panicked about ever going out again, panicked that we'd ever get back to normal.
Joseph, you didn't panic about anything.
What good is it? Why not help people
died.
Keep their head? I understand that.
100,000 people died, Joe, and all you did was try to help your friend, the president.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what what is known as deflection. We're going to move off to another topic because we just not doing very well on the last topic. One that really can't be argued with because, let me see. If I am supporting the economy and I want people to get rich and I want people to do well, then Trump wants that. So obviously I'm supporting Trump. Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Sort of.
That's what you did. Every single morning on this show. Every single morning on this show, you abused and abused your position, Joe.
That's totally unfair.
You abused and abused your position.
I'm trying to help investors keep their cool, keep their heads, and as it turned out, that's what they should have done. That's what they should have done. They should have kept their heads. If they had listened to you, Andrew, we're supposed to be at about 8,000.
I wasn't arguing to go sell your stocks, Joseph. I was arguing about people's lives.
We understand.
People's lives.
Andrew,
that's
it's a global pandemic.
Do the news. I'm begging you to do the news, Joseph.
It's a global.
Yes, I am dismissing you because you obviously just don't understand. You're one of the scum of the earth. You have no compassion. You have no worldview. You have no responsibility. So I'm not even going to talk with you anymore.
Global pandemic.
I'm begging you,
Andy.
Please.
It's a global pandemic, Andy, where per capita deaths, we're down near the low end of per capita deaths. We're nowhere near per 100,000. Most places are at 60 deaths per 100,000. We're at 29. So it's terrible that we've lost 100,000 lives. It's terrible. But it was never going to be that we weren't going to come back and that we weren't going to return to normal. And, siding with Ackman and everything else that, giving credence to all that panic didn't help any investors at all or people with their anxiety and everything else. So that's why we're here, to try and navigate people through, not trying to help Donald Trump. Anyway, let's look at Tesla. News overnight, Tesla.
Well, actually, those numbers are much better or worse. Depending upon what side of the fence you're on, it could be either better or worse, but it's vastly different than what we've been told. Media quiet over CDC report confirming extremely low coronavirus toll. In a new report just released by the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, estimates show that the coronavirus is nowhere near as lethal as earlier models claim. Now, guys, this is out of RT. So before you go, oh my God, it's propaganda, it's Russian propaganda. Well, no, this is directly out of the CDC, all right? The mainstream media has so far remained quiet on the good news, prompting some prominent lockdown critics to question why that might be the case. Because, guys, this is really, really good news because it's even less lethal than the flu. But we're getting to that, okay? The news will no doubt end up on a thick pile of vital data and information about the virus that is not going to get out to the public. Of course it's not going to get out to the public. They succeeded in what it is that they wanted to do, okay? This is all just what you're seeing right now. That was the purpose of it. RT reports, according to the current best estimate scenario laid out by the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, the overall case fatality rate, which is known as CFR, is significantly lower than 3.4%. And we all knew that, which is what the health organization put out. And I want you to also remember, initially, the health organization was being honest about it until they decided that we could make a pandemic out of this. See, AIDS, Fauci, I've got a video on it. Same game plan, different virus. It worked even better than before. The CFR is significantly lower than the 3.4% that the World Health Organization claimed early on. The figure used to justify draconian lockdowns across much of the globe. The CDC also currently estimates that 35% of all COVID infections may be asymptomatic. And here, down here is, look at in the red, overall is 0.004. That's the CFR. Okay, let me say it again. 0.004. That's low. That is really low. The revelation should have been major news, but has gone largely unnoted. Blaze columnist Daniel Horowitz pointed out on Monday, we destroyed our entire country and suspended democracy, all for a lie. And these people perpetrated the unscientific degree of panic. Will they ever admit the grave consequences of their error? No, it wasn't an error. It was meant to be the way that it has happened. It's been done before. It worked. They did it again. Guys, I'll have a link to this article so you could take a look at it. That's basically the whole thing. The rest is just talking about the death rates, which is information most all of you already have. I'm John Masters. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.